Battlefield 6, dude, this game is a blast. I've been playing every day since the beta dropped last week, and I honestly haven't had this much fun in a multiplayer shooter in years, I think. Like, usually I grow pretty quickly tired of getting my butt kicked in these games. However, there's something about the nonstop craziness and scale of Battlefield specifically that makes it so I really don't mind. I can wrap up a match with like a 1-for-1 KD ratio and still feel like I had a heck of a lot of fun. Certainly helps that just some of the crazy stuff that can happen in these games, battlefield moments as they like to call them. Battlefield moments are back. At first, I just assumed I was dead. So he's repairing a tank explodes, jettisoned up into the air, then helicopters onto, or parachutes onto the roof, okay. And now he's just up there where nobody else can get up there. That is actually unbelievable. You know, now normally if I saw this clip, I wouldn't think anything of it because it's a Battlefield game. Like obviously he jumped from the helicopter, but there's no helicopter on this map. At least there's not on the modes that I've been playing. Okay, all right, I've seen a few of these clips. I don't exactly know what's going on. Like there's no way that it takes this many number of knifing animations to kill somebody. Oh, I know what's about to happen. I just read yesterday that you could do this. I didn't even really, yep, that's right, yep. He's running around with the defibrillator and just one-shotting enemies. You actually one-shot them? I guess you do have to charge it first, right? Still, that's ridiculous. It's better than the knife damage on the last clip. So yeah, I mean, the game, it's a lot of fun. It's also funny at times, and I've been having a blast. Seems a lot of other people are enjoying it as well as of this recording. It's reached a whopping 520,000 peak concurrent players over on Steam, and here's the kicker. I didn't even know that the beta test was available on Steam. Literally. So I started playing last Thursday when they were running that Twitch drops campaign. Like the way you could get in is you had to watch a stream for 30 minutes and then you would be sent a code. And those codes were codes not for Steam, but for the EA launcher. So I just assumed that everyone was playing on the EA launcher. Like up until earlier this morning, I thought everyone was on the EA launcher. And I do believe a lot of people thought as much as well. I'll at least say all of my friends who also played via Twitch drops on Thursday or Friday when they got access, all of them were also using the EA launcher. And I am someone who typically prefers to play my games on Steam if given the choice, because I'd rather not download separate launchers for every publisher's games, right? So the fact that they hit 520,000 concurrent players on Steam, on top of however many thousands they must have certainly had on the EA launcher, on top of the console player base, seems this beta has been massively popular. It is at the very least the most popular beta in Battlefield's history. Those concurrent numbers also place it as the 18th all-time most popular game on Steam when it comes to player concurrence. Yeah, not too shabby. So Windows Central, they just posted an article pointing out the fact that Battlefield 6 has surpassed Call of Duty's all-time Steam player count because, of course, like, let's just get those fan bases going at it already. Get a head start to the online arguments that which will no doubt be happening this October about which is better, Call of Duty or Battlefield. Great, we got a couple months of this garbage now. But you know, maybe not much of a shocker. Not everyone has been having a good time. I've actually been seeing a fair few complaints about the game over the course of this beta weekend, and I want to dive into and touch on some of those as well. So for starters, map size. This is one of the more common complaints that I've seen, basically that the maps aren't that big. And you know what? I actually pretty much agree on this one. Like all of the maps, even the bigger ones that are meant for the all-out warfare game modes with vehicles and everything, they feel kind of small. It seems I can't go 10 seconds without being shot at in the game. And from what I recall in any prior Battlefield games that I've played, there felt like there was more space and breathing room in between engagements with enemies, which just really hasn't been the case here. Now I've been playing a lot of the breakthrough game mode where you've got an attacking team and defending team. And this mode literally only takes place on the larger maps. So I've spent most of my time with the game over this beta just playing on what are the larger available maps, but even these still kind of feel tiny, or at least kind of restricted. Also, I read a comment that really rung true for me, where somebody said that the maps are flat out boring, but specifically said that everyone plays on the same plane and there is no verticality, which Battlefield maps are known for. The second I read that, I was like, it's like a light bulb went off in my head. I was like, Oh yeah, no, dude, he's totally right. Holy crap. It did make me realize that on every map, it seems like there are like 2 floors max to the buildings and structures you can go in. In fact, that earlier clip kind of points to a funny discrepancy from what I would expect from a Battlefield game where you got a player who accidentally ended up on the roof of these buildings. And in my mind, Battlefield's always been a game where you should just be able to get up on the roof of buildings, right? If no, for no other reason than because you drop out of a helicopter or a plane and then parachute on top of it. But in this game, even on many of the larger maps we have, that's not exactly possible. But even if it is, the buildings themselves are just relatively small. Like over these past few days and all of the engagements that I've had, the highest I have ever been elevated over another player has been like 1 floor above them inside of a building. And that's basically it. There's just really little verticality at the moment on top of what seems to be a relatively small amount of total play space to explore. Now, I am hopeful that this is just a factor of the current beta's map pool and that come release, there are larger maps available, especially for these big game modes like Breakthrough or Conquest. And that's just the case that right now we only have a fraction of the maps and modes that are planned for launch. That is true. Like there's gonna be more there. So I'm hoping that more includes more bigger things. In fact, I did see a thread that was comparing this to prior Battlefield games, stating that the Battlefield 6 open beta is an outlier for the fact that it is putting so much focus on these smaller infantry focused maps. And then they laid out Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4, Hardline, BF1, BF5, and 2042, and the different combinations of maps that they had with many larger scale maps that are bigger compared to the ones that we're playing here in the Battlefield 6 beta. Some people are also saying that this is a big reason why the game is being compared a lot to Call of Duty, mainly because we only have what are relatively smaller maps with a lot of quick engagements. You know, this may very well, in fact, be intentionally done to help draw some of that crowd. EA might be doing this on purpose to appeal to the Call of Duty fan base. That is entirely possible. There's like a high likelihood that that's the case. But nevertheless, I just want more bigger maps. So that is actually one complaint that I'm fully on board with. Like I'd like to see bigger maps in the game come release. Another big complaint that I'm seeing a lot of has been about the time to kill. Seems to be a lot of people saying that the time to kill in this game is too fast, but it turns out that may not be even true at all. In fact, it looks like the exact opposite might be the case, and that the time to kill appears to be slower than Battlefield 4, at least according to some rough comparison videos that I've seen floating around. Although I do want to make it clear, this is a very poor method of testing. These just comparing random gameplay clips side to side. We just don't know so much. There's so many variables. We don't know the starting health of the enemies prior to them being shot in the clip. Like, were they already injured? Or we don't know if they had taken any damage during the clip from any other sources. Like, did they get fired from somebody else or take blast damage from a grenade? What were the ranges and the weapon attachments that were being used in each of these clips that are put side by side? Like, again, there's just way too many variables. I would love to see some more controlled testing of the weapons and the different distances against static non-moving targets so that you know every shot is hitting. That's what I would like to see, where you could figure out where exactly does the time to kill fall in line with other Battlefield games. I've also seen people saying that time to kill isn't really so much the issue as is the perceived time to death. It feels like you're getting instantly killed sometimes, and apparently part of the reason here might be due to the fact of how damage gets bundled and then registered in burst. So while on your end it might seem like you died after just 1 to 2 bullets, you check out the kill feed and it shows you actually got hit 5 or 6 times, and it's just that the damage was applied in burst. So that is a whole nother factor to account for here. Also, I want to say, personally, I think part of the issue of what people are experiencing here also comes down to the map sizes and layouts. There's just, with the size of these maps, there's not a lot of breathing room in the current beta rotation. Like, even on the larger ones, it does seem like you can't go 5 or 10 seconds without being shot much of the time. Also, I swear that I am performing better than I should be. I wanted to point this out here as well. Like, I don't know how heavy this game's aim assist is, but it feels pretty strong. And if that is the case, and everyone has it, while being on these maps, that result in a very little amount of time between player engagements, that could also be part of the explanation. Explaining the feeling as to why people are like, dude, I'm just constantly dying all the time super quickly. A lot of factors at play here, a lot of things to consider. Also, I've been seeing a lot of complaints about the UI, and I will admit, like, some of this stuff, it's pretty rough. This home screen, like, for example, when I'm on the play screen, where is the button to instantly get into the next match? Like, why isn't it just right there, front and center? Why do I have to toggle down a layer from the bulletin, which is basically, here's our advertising for the game that you're already playing, for things that you can probably in the future buy more things within the game on this banner. Why do I have to go down to the feature tabs and or training ground? But, you know, we'd be going down to the feature tabs. I should just be able to click a button right here and play the game. I shouldn't have to scroll to anything. And I think that kind of also points to a larger issue that I've had with this game, and the menus in particular, is a lot of like, there's too many layers to the menus. That's a big thing that a lot of games seem to struggle with. There needs to be a simplicity and a limiting to the number of click-throughs that you have to do before you get to the thing that you're trying to get to. That should be streamlined as much as possible. It's something that I've been had a bit of annoyance, not a massive annoyance, but a bit of annoyance here. People have also been complaining about like the class icons. These don't bother me so much. I think this is just an exposure issue. Like, the more you play, the more comfortable you're going to get with what each of the class icons mean. I do get that they're a little too like artsy fartsy, instead of just like the assault is like, it should be a rifle or a bullet, and the healing thing should just be the medical cross. Like, why isn't it just the medical cross? Why is the engineering class like a lug nut instead of a wrench? You know, and the sniper class icon, I mean, I like looking at it, it's abstract and I get it. Like, my brain can put the pieces together. Like, yes, oh, that's supposed to be a scope. But also it like what is, come on, dude. Why is it not just the regular sniper scope? It seems like they just went really fancy and abstract with the designs here of the class icons. I mean, I don't hate these, and I get what they're going for with each of them. Like, I get the design idea behind it and what it's supposed to represent and how that is relevant to said classes. But yeah, they definitely put their own spin on it, right? But ultimately, I do think it's just an exposure thing. After playing for a few days, like, I get what each of these means now, but it's not immediately intuitive. I guess I would say that much. It at least takes some. You got to take a minute. It's like you got to look at it for a minute and be like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, that's okay. I get it. Like, even the medic one, I look at it and I'm like, is that a bridge? What is that? I was like, oh, it is a cross, but it also has a circle in it, and then there's a space chunk diagonally taken out of the middle. I'm like, okay, yeah, I get it. No, I get it, yeah. Oh, I saw this post and thought it was absolutely hilarious, because that's not what it really looks like when you're playing on this map, but it's what it feels like. You're just seeing the glint of sniper lenses staring you down every time you pop your head up above a rock or something on this map, and it's kind of a nightmare as a result. Yeah, there's a lot of snipers, and you know, I was told, or I read somewhere, that one of the main reasons we're seeing for the prevalence of snipers right now is that there's little to no suppression. So suppressing fire that you would send out that would mess with enemies, it would mess up their aim or mess up their vision to make it harder for them to aim and hit targets. Evidently, that's not really much of a thing anymore. I haven't played as the sniper class, as a recon, or I haven't used a sniper on any of the other classes, because you can kind of mix and match weapons however you like here, except for that one particular mode. But I've mostly been playing like AR or LMG, actually. I picked the support, and the support started as LMG. I like the class playstyle. I like rezzing people, like running around with the defibrillators. Yeah, apparently when people are sniping, they're no longer getting suppressed, which historically has been the case, I've been told, for the LMG classes. They've been good for doing the suppressing fire and making it harder for the enemies that you're shooting at to return fire, but evidently that's not really a thing. Kind of surprised. I'm sure there's some very good reason as to why they did it. We'll see if that gets tuned or not right now, because right now, yes, especially on some of these maps, especially on that map in particular, every time I poke my head above a rock, it's just like there's like 5-7 sniper lens flares looking back at me. And I'm like, oh God, please, no. Don't take my head off and make me unresable. I did see some complaints about the fact that the RPGs aren't really good against enemy players. Like, there's not a lot of splash damage. It looks like that's just kind of the case across the board right now. There's not a lot of splash damage with this, or C4 was something else that I saw people complaining about. I'm gonna be honest, I don't hate it. Like, I don't dislike the idea that it should mostly be guns and not explosive AoE blast radius things that are killing group multiple players. Just personally, like, I don't really mind this so much, but I get people are used to, like, if you shoot a rocket into a cluster of players, getting 5 kills or something. Like, that's what you kind of are used to and kind of expect, but that doesn't really seem to be the case with how they're currently doing the blast radius and the amount of damage it's done to players. One complaint I saw coming up was that there's no compass in the game, although apparently there is. It is just off by default. This thread here mentions the fact that, yes, if you go into settings, the graphics menu, interface and HUD, and advanced HUD options, you can check to have the compass enabled, because for whatever reason, it's just not there by default on PC. So, you know, when you get those call outs like, there's an enemy sniper to the east, and you're like, where? I can't, there's no compass. I don't, where are they? You're right. Yes, there is a compass. You just have to enable it, because it's not, I really don't understand why the compass wouldn't be there by default, but it isn't. So there you go. Oh, and one of the final things that I'm seeing a lot of people complaining about, or at least I've seen it crop up here and there, is cheaters. Not even a couple of days into the beta, we were already getting proof that there are cheaters in the game. I've seen multiple separate videos of wall hacks being used. Some of these posted up on TikTok. You see players running around, and yeah, they've just got those boxes. They're clearly outlining friends and foes through the walls. And yeah, again, I've seen several of these. And you know what? Absolutely sucks. Like, cheating in these multiplayer games, it's sort of an unfortunate reality. And perfect elimination just doesn't seem possible. I mean, been talking about cheaters in our games for how long have I been? Like 30 years. Like, the multiplayer games that I played, we've been talking about there being cheaters. And be like, why don't the devs get rid of them? Well, you can't just get rid of all of them. It is a cat and mouse game. It's the simplest explanation that I've seen for it. Now, in a recent forum post, EA has discussed some of their anti-cheat methods, specifically via secure boot, and some of the results that they've seen thus far, mentioning that secure boot is how we are helping them build their arsenal. It is another barrier that helps them make it harder for cheat developers to create cheat programs and make it easier for them to detect it when they do. One example here is that secure boot prevents your machine from running with vulnerable drivers enabled. If secure boot is running and they see those drivers loaded, they know that something is a bit off. Then they thank to the community for their assistance in identifying cheaters, as it really does help. Your reports help us zero in and lead us to finding up and coming cheat communities. Reporting one cheater often can lead to new detection techniques and help us keep them from impacting your experience. Now, since the open beta early access began, like last Thursday, they've said that Javelin has already prevented 330,000 attempts to cheat or tamper with anti-cheat controls. We have reported 44,000 instances of potential cheaters during the first day and 60,000 during the second day. And they say we are already using these with our own gameplay integrity team to add and improve our detection for Battlefield 6. They're also working with the Battlefield Positive Play team to actively remove those reported we can confirm to be cheaters. And they wrapped it all up by saying that anti-cheat isn't one and done. It is an ever-evolving battlefield, haha, and what has worked for them previously in different games doesn't always work all of the time. Again, basically reiterating that this is an ongoing issue, a struggle that they just have to constantly deal with, trying to battle cheaters and get them out of the game. Now, I will say, like, just anecdotally, I've not really felt like any of my games over the weekend have been full of cheaters. I don't think I even had one death where I was like, that guy is definitely a cheater. At least if it were the case that there were some there, they weren't obvious, or there didn't seem to be many or enough of them to ruin my experience. I'm not saying there aren't cheaters. Clearly there are. I'm just saying I don't exactly know how widespread it is, because it hasn't seemed to impact my experience at all. So, in fact, I would be really curious, like, what percentage of games they've identified as having cheaters in them in the lead up to sending out the ban waves that they're doing. Because, yeah, hasn't seemed to be a lot of them, at least not blatantly obvious ones in the games that I've played. All right, so, yeah, there's some things that they need to work on. But overall, man, I got to say, I've been having a really, really good time. Like, I was not expecting this. I thought I was just going to jump in Thursday and maybe Friday just to give the game a look and to have some general impressions on it. But I had so much fun that I ended up playing every day. Like, I think my personal biggest critique is, yes, I want some bigger maps. I want a bit of breathing room where I can run around for at least 10 or 15 seconds before being shot again. This doesn't seem to really exist on the maps that we have playable at the moment. But honestly, other than that, like, that's my real biggest complaint. I don't disagree with a lot of the other issues that we brought up here. Certainly, I want them to get all the cheaters out of the game. Yeah, there's a lot of snipers. It'd be good if suppression was a bit better. Yeah, sure, the UI can use some tweaking. And the time to kill speed, I don't really have a thought on that one way or the other. Like, I don't know, it seemed fine to me. I also felt the more that I played, the better that I got, and the less like just running out into the open constantly, the less I felt like I was dying constantly all the time as well. So yes, there's some things that could be better, but overall, I've had a really good time, like a heck of a good time. The beta's convinced me that I'm definitely going to be playing this game come release. And I'll wrap it up by saying I play games to have fun, and the beta delivered that in spades. I've had a really good time. So I'm looking forward to more. It's also been nice because, like I said, I've not really found myself actually enjoying and wanting to continue to play a competitive multiplayer shooter in some years, but I am really enjoying this. Even if I go 1 for 1, even if I go 0.9, I know, don't kick me off the team, I'm sorry, but I usually go over 1 for 1, okay? Usually go like 1.5 for 1 or 2 for 1 if I'm having a just solid game. Maybe in a rare blue moon, I'll go 3 for 1, but I mean, who really cares, dude? That's, again, I'm not here for the ego boost. I'm just here to have some fun. And the fact that I can have fun even trading kills with the enemy team and resin people, all good, dude. It's great. Yeah, really looking forward to seeing more of this game. Like, sincerely, pleasantly surprised. I was not expecting much, but I've had a great time. Yeah, that's it for me today. I'll probably talk about this game a little bit more in the future, at least probably another video or two. But thank you for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. See you in the next one, right? Take it easy.